A question we get asked all the time is, can I keep my plant in a pot? Most people think, sure, you see plants in pots all the time, but the answer isn't that simple. In this video, we'll go through a range of factors to help you find out the do's and don'ts of keeping plants in pots, from a small shrub to a large tree. First, a disclaimer. A plant will always do better in the ground. It's where they live. A plant will do better in the ground, and just as importantly, it's less work for you. Plants in pots will require more watering, more attentive pruning, that's a big one, we'll get to that later, and more feeding. If it's a tropical plant, it may require extra protection in the winter, and eventually you're going to have to change the soil. It's not all doom and gloom though, you just have to be aware of the extra work you're signing up for when you have a plant in a pot. To minimise that, the first step, the most crucial step, is to choose the right plant. Now, it's important to be realistic when choosing a plant. Something like this skimia, which won't grow to more than, say, 70 centimetres in its lifetime, will obviously be fine in a pot this size. But for a larger plant, we recommend at least doubling the size of the pot it's delivered in. Pots for plants in nurseries are changed quite regularly, so these aren't designed to stay in their pots for very long. For a larger tree, that means you're going to need a much bigger pot than the one it's been supplied in. Please consult us about your plant before buying your pot. It can be really frustrating to compromise on the size of the plant you want just to fit the pot. And always get a pot that has drainage holes. I've seen street planting of birch and cherries where the pots are 2 meters long by 1 meter wide and 1 meter tall. So in summary, when it comes to pots for large trees, bigger is better. And remember, tall trees need to be stabilised in the wind. If the pot isn't big and heavy enough, it'll simply topple over every time it gets windy. Nearly all plants in pots will require pruning. Pruning is so crucial for potted plants, as it makes sure the plant stays at an appropriate size for the container that it's in. Pruning isn't a difficult job, but it's really important it's not missed, as if the plant is allowed to grow beyond a certain point, it could make the plant look really terrible to cut it, or worse, it could seriously damage it. The pruning should only ever be done on the new growth, which you can see here. It's a lighter green than the rest of the plant usually. And that usually needs to be done once, maybe twice a year for faster growing plants. We've got a full video coming out on all the principles of pruning, so make sure to watch that. Good soil is always important for gardening, even more so for potted plants. Because the roots can't expand to get nutrients from elsewhere, everything they need has to be in the pot. Always use fresh soil and make sure to pay attention to the type of soil your plant prefers. For most mature plants, we like Westland, organic, peat-free, it's good multi-purpose compost. Every 2 to 3 years, remove about 1/3 of the soil in the pot and replace it with fresh compost such as this one. You should also feed your plants regularly using a slow-release pellet feed such as this, or a liquid feed such as Pow Hummus. This recommends you use it every 6 months, but for a potted plant, we would say every month. The Pow Hummus is applied during growing season, but can also be applied elsewhere during the year. You should also use a top dressing with a dry or biodegradable mulch. This will keep moisture in the pot and reduce weeds. So many people underestimate how much water plants need. Plants in a pot, when the water will just drain right out, will need more water than usual. It's not uncommon in the height of summer for plants to need watering every single day. We've got loads of accessories on our website to make this easier for you, for a simple watering can to a complex irrigation system like the one we use here in our nursery. Irrigation drips and timers make this process a lot easier. As you can imagine, it would take a very long time to water manually. You can recreate that at home yourself using a simple leaky hose and either a mechanical timer like this, where you just set how long you want the watering to go on for, or something more complicated, an automatic timer like this, which has multiple programs that you can set for a whole day's watering. If you wanted something more sophisticated, and you could get this solar-powered irrigation system. This hooks up to a water butt like this and can keep watering your garden for days, even weeks, while you're away. So you'll always know your plants will be watered when you're out of the house. Have a look at our full range on our website, and also check out our full video on how to properly water your plants, which you can watch on our website or on our YouTube channel. Some tropical plants will need extra protection. This tree fern should have straws stuffed in the crown to protect the sensitive new growth during winter. If it was also in a pot, the pot should be wrapped in an insulator too, like fleece. Frost can be incredibly damaging to roots, and the pot allows the cold to get right in there, so make sure they're protected. And that's our guide to keeping plants in pots. I know there was a lot of information in there, but we, like you, want plants to do as well as possible in your garden. Look at our website and you should see a section called Plants for Pots to help you pick the perfect plant for your situation. Thanks for watching.
For more advice on keeping mature plants in pots, email salesteam@paramountplants.co.uk.